Hiya, it's LindaLee, and I'm going to do an eco dye today, and I'm going to try and show you a bit more of the process. I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to show you the preparation of the water and how I layer up the plants. I already harvested the plants. I don't have anything stable to record while I'm doing that, so I can use both hands. So maybe another time for that. Then you can kind of see what I'm grabbing and whatnot. But I already got the plants. So what I have here is my aluminum kettle that I got at, I don't know if it was Goodwill or a thrift store, I'm not sure. But this is the only thing I use it for, is my eco dye. All I have in there right now is regular tap water. I already have some rusty bits in here. Those are just drill bits that were destined for the garbage that I've kind of reclaimed, and they just rust up in between my batches. I'm going to throw in some copper pennies, or pennies, I don't know what they're made of anymore, but they're copper colored. So I got some pennies in there. I use white distilled vinegar in the mix. So this is all before I put any kind of plants in it or heat the water. How much do I use? Probably about a cup, I would say. And then I actually put a little bit of alum in the water. So alum, the only place I've been able to find it over the counter is Walmart. I have to find some and get it online though, because it's way too expensive at Walmart. But that's what I put in the water before I start putting any plants in. Now sometimes I use onion water that I've already rendered, or cabbage water. A while back ago, my neighbors had actually given me a great big old tobacco leaf. That's what I'm going to put in the water and kind of let it boil while I'm layering up my plants in the paper. So it's called Grab a Leaf, and it's this great big old tobacco leaf. It's still pretty fresh. It's nice, soft, and pliable, but in handling it, it does leave some color on my hands, so I'm pretty sure it's going to do quite a bit to the water, which is cool. So this is the first time I've actually used a tobacco leaf. Look how big this thing is. So I'm going to put that in the water and let it boil. And then when I put my stack of paper in there, I'll just put it on top. So that's all I do. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the oven top, or the stove top, I should say, and let it heat up while I do the rest. Now I don't have absolutely everything ready just yet. I have to grab some cardboard because I need some cardboard for the bottom and for the top to stably kind of hold all my stuff together, because that way I don't tear at the paper itself once it starts to boil. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of layering. Let me make an adjustment here. Hopefully, I'm going to move these plants a little bit, I think, so I can push this up. Alright, so the plants that I use in their natural state is I use hibiscus leaves. So this is just from a regular hibiscus plant. It has big pink flowers that last a day. I don't use the flowers though, I only use the leaves. And then this is the, oh shoot, what's it called? I'll think of it. I use it all the time. I don't know why I'm not thinking of its name. Coleus, that's what it is. It's a coleus. So I get both of these plants from the front office. They grow in big shrubs up front. And then the ones that are in front of my apartment, this is Schefflera Ibericola. And then I have some fern, Boston ferns. And today, in addition to those, I have some of my mom's flowers. She just recently got some flowers. So I have the red mini carnations. We found that that actually throws some blue color. So I have those. And while I was up front, my guy told me to get the flower from the monkey grass. I don't know if you're familiar with what mondo grass is, but that's what it looked like. It was a great big mound of mondo grass type of looking, but it had these little purple flowers. Now, I'm not expecting color to come out of these, but maybe the impressions. So that might come out in the papers too. Now I have my mixed media paper. So the mixed media paper, I have some envelopes, both large and small. So I'll just kind of grab a few of each. And then I have my smaller bits of the same mixed media paper. So these are like 4.5 by 6. And these are cut because normally it's 9 by 12, but my pot only handles 8. So I have this cut down to 8 inches and this is 12. So 6 inches folded. Okay, what I have here is this is a recycled priority box from the US Post Office. So I'm using my Queen mailbox, and I just cut it to basically be the same size as my paper. So that way when it's bundled up, it's just protecting the outer edges of the actual prints. And then this, normally I use a heavier gauge twine, but I ran out. So this is actually yarn. It does loosen a little bit once I get it wet, but last time I used it and it stayed tight enough to make, do what it was meant to do. You just have to kind of watch this, because when I was pulling it last time, my mom helps me squash it down while I tie it. I ended up actually kind of punching her in the stomach because this broke. So pay attention to what you're using, especially if someone helps you squish it down while you tie it tight. Okay, so I have a little spray bottle of alum water. So what I did is I just took less than a teaspoon, put it in here with some warm water, and it's just diluted. There's still a little bit of granules in there, but it'll be fine. And then I spray everything. So on the bottom, what I'm going to do is just put a big old leaf. I don't do too much to the very bottom, only because nothing much really happens down there. But I'll put a couple of leaves and I spray them with my alum water. And then I start stacking. I just need to turn the heat down a little bit on my stove top. Hold on. Okay, so the water is just starting to heat up on my tobacco leaf, and it's turning brown. It's kind of exciting. I've never done that before. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on the paper and spray here, and I just keep layering. So when I do it, I kind of paint a little picture while I'm doing it, keeping, in mind what's kind of negative space. So we're going to use some of this flour. And use a little bit of it here. And I'm actually going to put an envelope down. So I'm going to try and alternate my envelopes with the little pieces of paper. And when I do the envelopes, I kind of try and use something similar that's on one side on the other. So what I'm doing is I'm just breaking the stems so this has the ability to kind of be a little more flat. Excuse me. And let's put coleus here. But this is really all I do, just over and over and over again. Varying in the plants. And sometimes it takes me a long time because I end up being a little more meticulous than I need to be. Then I get myself all tired out. And one thing I kind of pay attention to is as I'm building it, it gets thicker and thicker in the middle. So I have to try and remember to keep putting stuff around the outer edge. So as I build the pile, it's, you know, a little flatter when I bundle it. So I'm going to use these little flower petals, at least until they're gone. And then once they're gone, I'm going to put in the little purple flowers so I can kind of see the difference. I keep forgetting to look to make sure I'm kind of in frame. And I always try to put something kind of over that little flap too. Now sometimes I don't do this right away when I harvest the leaves, but so far it doesn't seem to have made that much difference. The colors and the impressions all render even if the leaves are wilted. Now where I live, I don't have much opportunity to use, you know, like leaves that fall in the fall. So I haven't really done any kind of eco dye with that type of stuff yet. But what I'll probably do is maybe speed this up a little bit. And I'm not sure if I'll do it through my whole entire process because that's going to be kind of boring. But you kind of get the idea of what it is I'm doing. Starting to smell like a cigar factory in here with my tobacco boiling. It's kind of cool. I'm excited. Hopefully it won't be too overpowering. If you've watched any of my other eco dyes, you've heard me say you just never know what's going to happen, and it is so true. You just don't. So now I'm using a smaller piece of paper. And this smaller piece of paper, many times what it does is it leaves like a little frame impression on the paper above and below it. So it's kind of cool. It looks like a little picture. And sometimes it doesn't actually have much coloring on this, and it ends up being like a really cool little journal spot. But if you have any questions once you see this, because it's probably not going to be for a few days, and it's already going to be completed by the time you see this, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll definitely get back to you, answer any questions you got. Now, sometimes I know this leaf throws a decent amount of color, so sometimes I put it behind what's already there to ensure a little bit of color. So I'm going to use one of these big envelopes before I flap it shut again. Now I won't get any color out of that little bud, but I might just get a good little impression. Sometimes I have to refill this a couple times before I get through the whole stack. Just a minor adjustment, make sure it's staying kind of all in one stack, not getting too askew. Can you smell that tobacco, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
It's not overpowering, is it?
No.
Not yet. Okay, so I twisted it because this little corner is a little lower than the rest, so it helps balance it out a little bit. Oh, so I pulled that one completely apart. I'm still going to use it. that tobacco is really dark in the water. Okay, so I'm all the way through my first bottle, so I'm just going to go ahead and prepare another one, and I'm not going to have you hang out with me while I do the rest of my stack, but we'll come back when we tie it. I'll see you soon. Okay. Alright, so I got everything stacked and bundled, And there's going to be an extra pair of hands because my mom's going to help me squish it while I tie it. So whatever you use, just make sure it's nice and tight. And I'll show you how I kind of stagger tying it. I'm not going to punch you. She's gun shy now because last time I got her in the gut because I pulled it tighter than the yarn would allow. Okay, so I tied it in a double knot kind of on the side because now I'm going to twist it over and we're going to kind of tie it right here now. So basically what I do is I just try and tie it in a different spot every time so that it's tight all the way across. Oh, I don't want it to pull across itself. So now I'll tie over here and bundle it here. So this is where the knot will go. And now we'll go one more time the long way. Actually, I really just keep tying it until I run out of material. I'm gonna knot it right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep you in frame here. Okay, push. So, one last time. There's enough for one more, so let's do one more. We're not in frame. Isn't that hard?
Yeah, we're still not.
That's all right. They get the idea. All right. So I got knots here and here and here, and on this side I got them here and here. So it should be tied tight enough and well enough that now it can go in the pot. So now I have to take you guys over to the pot, but I can't do that one-handed. Do you want to try, or should I get Bob?
I can do it. What do you want me to do?
You're going to hold the camera.
I am?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah? All right, so Mom, first time handling the camera. She has a flip phone, so what you want to do is not touch anything here because it'll screw it up. So you can just touch, but the camera lens itself is right here.
Okay.
All right, so your finger can't go there to hold it. All right. Okay, so come on over, follow me to the pot. So we want to look in the pot. I'm going to, I didn't take this out yet. So let's go ahead. See how brown it is? Can you see it, Mom?
Uh-huh.
So this is that big old tobacco leaf. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. I'm gonna put this in. Now I do need a little bit more water. I'm just gonna kind of push this in and let it soak. And I have a rock, so let me get the rock. You just hang out.
Okay.
Don't move.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so this is the rock that I just kind of weigh it down while it cooks. I'm going to add a little more water to it, and then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer for 2 hours. And that's it. And then we'll come back and we'll do the reveal parts that you've seen before. Alrighty, we'll see you in a few. Hello, welcome back. And we've got our hot pot of water and papers. So after I ended the last one where we put everything in the pot, I remembered I said that I was going to leave the tobacco leaf in the water. So what I did is I actually cut it in half and put it back in the water because I did take it out. Was it a mistake or not? I don't know. It's really dark. So we'll have to check it out. But it's still kind of on the hot side, so I'm going to rinse it. It's actually steaming still. I turned it off, an hour and a half ago from cooking. So I didn't add anything else to the water other than the tobacco. So hopefully we got some good results here. Cool it off a little bit more. Okay. Are you excited? The string turned really, really, really super brown. The yarn that I used to tie it. You know what I didn't put in here this time? I didn't put any fabrics. Man. That's a shame. So here we go. Nothing crazy so far. It's pretty though. So far it's nice and subtle. Got lots of greens and some yellow. And a different color brown than I've seen. Oh, how pretty is that? Light so far. Oh, this is a envelope here. This is going to be really pretty. Okay, now these here, these are actually petals to a lily. Mom's last bouquet had some really big, super monster sized lilies in there, pink. And they wanted me to give it a try and see what happened. So here's, doesn't really look like anything happened, does it? Nothing came of that lily, Mom.
No, we didn't think it really would either.
No, but still. Another envelope. That's nice and strong in color. So we got, this is the coleus. Some real pretty greens behind it. Oh, isn't that pretty? Subtle, subtle, subtle. I'm surprised. The water was so dark. I thought it would be more brown. Isn't it pretty? I really like it, even though it's so light. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. Pretty. Those ferns are gorgeous. One of the small pieces of paper. It's still hot on the inside. Aren't they pretty? They're different than all the others. So those little dotted things, those little purple flowers, The nice thing about them being so light is they can actually be journaled on. Ooh, look at how pretty that page is. Very interesting. So we probably won't be doing tobacco again, unless we want a lighter subtle, you know? That's so pretty. You see that?
That's really pretty.
They're like stuck together. In maybe another row or so, I should be getting down to where the red carnations are. So I wonder how they reacted to the tobacco in the water. Because with the acidity potentially being different, it might not have turned blue, you know? That's pretty. See the fern? They're pretty. So the question is, how are these gonna dry? That turned out really great. Look how dark this one is. So I boiled these for 2 hours. Let the water sit and cool for almost 2 hours. Which is about what I do. Sometimes I don't wait that long to uncover them. That's about the same amount of boil time as I always do. We still got those little purple ones, zero impressions. Oh, a glimmer of blue. But it's really dark. So now we're definitely into the carnation layers. Wait on the feed. I want to see if this even shows up blue on camera. Yeah, I guess it does. Mom's still waiting for the bright reds and oranges though, aren't you? I don't know how we're going to achieve that, but not naturally anyway. I don't know. I like the little like ghost-like images. This is a little piece of paper. Yeah.
Oh, that one's pretty.
And then the very next paper, almost nothing, huh? Isn't that weird? Almost looks like it's still stuck.
Yeah. Cool.
Should calm down the water a little bit. And again, when I lay them out, I just lay them flat on a beach towel on my floor and turn the ceiling fan on in the studio area. And usually they're dry in a few hours. How dark that one is. Those are the coleus leaves, I believe. Yeah. What is it they say? You just never know. A couple more bundles. That's cool.
Hibiscus leaves really work well. So do carnations. Just the touch of blue is beautiful. Okay, I think we're almost to the bottom. Oh, that one's gorgeous. I like that.
I didn't use any begonias this time either. kind of really like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole batch. I have to let them dry open, the envelopes, so they don't stick shut because of the glue.
Mm-hmm.
But then once they're dry, there's like no glue. And I didn't put anything but those 2 leaves on that bottom, and that blue just came through from the other side. And no real tears in this one too. Paper stood up pretty good. Okay, so one more batch, totally different than all of the previous. All right, we'll come back when they're dry. See you again soon. Hiya, it's LindaLee, and we're back one more time for the flip through of the dried eco dyes. And I have to say, I think this is one of my favorite batches. The colors, I haven't had this soft of a brown in the background before, and I really like it. So let's just kind of flip through, and you just might agree. I know some people like the real dark grungy stuff. I love it all. And I think every batch is my favorite batch, but there's some in this one that's really, really pretty. Excuse me. So, just to recap, it was tobacco water that they boiled in. I just used my typical 4 plants and added the red mini carnations before they were bad because Mom was tossing them. And little coleus leaves. Usually I don't get them that little, but they've got some baby plants up front. Our landscapers have a tendency to really chop things, and the previous plants died, so they replaced them with a coleus. So I have some little leaves at the moment anyway. They are really big. So my fern. This here is one of the pages that had that great big lily on it. You can kind of see the dust from the stamen. It did offer a little bit of color that I didn't really see when we were doing the flip through, or the rinse, I should say. I think this is my favorite page altogether. We got the hibiscus and the arbicola. This right here was a random daisy type flower, a mum that was in Mom's arrangement that I snuck. It wasn't dead yet. But I love the light brown. I think in person it's a little lighter than what it's photographing. But that's kind of typical. Anybody who's actually gotten any of my eco dyes knows that the coloring is a little bit different when you get it. I think the next batch I do too is going to be all fern. Here's the other page from that lily. So the little dust from the inside pieces. Oh, pretty. Some more fern, hibiscus. Oh, here's that little purple flower that left the little dots. You see it? I love the fern. It's so cool. It looks like a watercolor. Isn't that neat? Oh, when I was putting these leaves in, I remember the broken leaf, wondering if that would all show or if it would get kind of lost in the wash. Very cool. Gotta find some other flowers that leave different color. So we know that the deep red petaled flowers, I wonder if roses would leave the same kind of blue, you know, the regular red roses. We'll have to try it sometime. But we know for sure the red carnations. I was wondering if the tobacco in the water would change that. But it didn't. So pretty. And the last one. This is beautiful. You see? Okay, now the small papers. They turned out really cool too. I'm not sure what I like more, the more defined or the washed out. That's beautiful. Almost looks like a drawing. This is pretty. And just two more of the little ones. I didn't get as many little ones because I've been doing the envelopes. But I definitely have enough to make a couple of sets and then some that go along with the big ones. So these are the larger envelopes. I had one casualty where this actually came off. It totally detached. They got stuck when I was laying them out. They all turned out really cool. They took the color a little differently than the mixed media paper. This one is absolutely beautiful. Front and back. The lighter, more subtle. This one as well. Look at that. Just a couple more. Got some different colors in this one. I'm not sure where that came from. And then this is the one where it's separated. Here's the front. And then I'll have to do a little bit of fixing in the back. And then the little ones, these are the ones that come completely unglued. So there's the front side with the little purple flower that leaves the dots, kind of like the baby's breath did in my previous batch. And then the back. So I decided not to glue them. Isn't that gorgeous though? The back side's almost prettier than the front. These all survived. I didn't have any rips or tears. The paper's a little more delicate than my mixed media paper, so just in handling with the rinse and stuff, it can potentially get damaged. I mean, even just being between the plants, because they're not, you know, completely flat. They pretty? I think I've said that too many times. But it's just so true. Okay, just two more. This one and one more. You can see how wrinkled the paper is. And the last one. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so that's the whole batch. I'm still figuring out the watermarks so that I can put some of this stuff up in my Etsy, because I've got, you know, several batches now. Once I figure that out, I just got so many, you know, things on the stove at the one time, so everything's kind of getting done gradually because I'm doing a little bit of everything at the same time, but I need to focus. So I hope you enjoyed the whole process. If you like to see that part of it, by all means leave me a comment, give me some feedback. I got a couple of ladies that requested the full process, so hopefully that was good for them and everybody else too, so they can kind of see at least my process, because there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Thanks again, and I totally appreciate your time. I will see you with the next batch, and it's going to be all ferns, I promise. I'll talk to you soon.